Well, good morning. We are live. And if you're joining us live right now, thank you for being with us this Saturday morning. And if you're watching us on the replay, you're equally welcome as well. So thanks for stopping by. My name's Ray Whitby. I'm part of the Aspiring Runners YouTube channel. And it is my privilege to be hosting the second ever Eastbourne Parkrun Lockdown Livestream. And it is great to have you with us. So if you grab some coffee, grab some toast, and let's go. Coming up in the show, got a fun-packed day ahead of us. We're going to be looking at some technical fixes, trying to improve your running speed. And if you're out and about running, well, do you use music, podcasts, or just listen to ambient sounds? So what's your poison for when you're out running? And we have a running-themed music quiz. But let's not delay it. Let's get our anchor man in. We have in the studio our race director today, Simon Jones. Good morning, Simon. How you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Ray. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well. It's cooler this morning, which is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely loving this. But I also understand that you've already been out and about. It's your Saturday morning prep.
Yeah, I've been out this morning, registered my not park run for Saturday. So it's definitely cooler out there and a little bit damp this morning. So I've just about dried off.
Fantastic. So you're still parkrun fresh? You managed to get in the shower? Well, let's not go there, perhaps.
I'm definitely fresh. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so thank you once again for joining us in the studio. And for those that are viewing us live, just to say that we would love to have you commenting, just to give you a brief rundown of the rules for live streaming comments. We want you to not share any personal information, please. And please keep it clean. This is a family-friendly show, and I can already see a few young ones on the line in the comments. Be respectful. We're a broad and diverse community. We need to ensure that we are taking care of each other. And please put question marks before and after comments if they're quite serious comments. Hopefully we'll be able to pick them up. The comments do kind of run very quickly through the comment stream, so I'll try and do my best. Hopefully Simon and the moderators will pick them up as well. And if you want to contact this show for any reason, to send in ideas during the show or after the show, please email us at aspiringrunners@gmail.com. So very quickly this morning, what we want to know is who this weekend has already started the earliest, so started their run the earliest. So Simon, how early was you this morning hitting the tarmac?
I was out at 6:45 this morning, so I was up at 6 and I was out the door 6:45, warming up, and then trying to smash out a quick 5K. So yeah, that was me. I don't know about anyone else, but that's how, and that was late for me usually. So
6:45, and that's late, crikey. So yeah, so anybody in the live stream, how early were you? I do believe I saw a Strava entry for Nat, which had some unearthly figures on. Maybe she'll let us know and share with us. But whilst we're waiting for those to come in, let's get on with some news. And in the news this morning, Simon, would you please briefly run us through the parkrun updates?
Yeah, so as said a couple of weeks ago, parkrun across the world is still on lockdown, but with some good news in New Zealand that they're due to open up on the 4th of July. So next Saturday, they'll be running their first parkruns. But yeah, Parkrun have released their not parkrun. So whereas the Freedom Run, that you could register a parkrun time on the course at a different time if you couldn't make the Saturday mornings, now with not parkrun, you can run a 5K on a route of your choice at a time of your choice once, and then you can register a time once a day. So, and a leaderboard's produced locally and everything. So it's a bit of good fun again.
Fantastic. Just to say that Nat has come back to say it was at 5:23 this morning. Personally, I think that is far too ridiculous, but who am I to judge? I still want to be in bed with a cup of coffee and a biscuit. That's my morning routine. Exercise is biscuit dunking.
Well done, Nat. Well done. I think that even beats me.
Well done, Nat. And just to say, also in the news, we have New York City Marathon, which is one of the largest in the world, very well attended until this year, who have decided that the best thing to do with coronavirus is to cancel the marathon for this year. So they are obviously planning to look at November 2021. This will be their 50th marathon event. But Simon, you also said there were some other updates about marathons around the world.
Yeah, Berlin have also announced that they were due to run on the 27th of September. They've also cancelled for this year as well. And obviously Berlin, for a lot of people, if they've run Berlin or know about Berlin, it's it's got the world record marathon time, and it's one of the quickest around. And a lot of people we take part in it because it's so quick, and people try and get PB there. So Berlin's cancelled as well, unfortunately.
It is a shame, yes, but it's not never ever. So it's just a case of being patient, and hopefully there'll be others that will come online. I still know that there are some trail marathons hoping to run later this year, but of course they were looking for how they can be COVID secure. So I think it is just a case of watch this space, and hopefully the race directors will be speaking to local authorities, as well as medical advice coming out of government, and hopefully being able to run if it is safe for all of us to do so. Because it's not just the runners, it's also the volunteers, the spectators, and of course the emergency crew that have to be there and have to respond. Also in the news, Stars and Strides. So we do need to give another shout out. We mentioned it last week, but it'd be good to just briefly update the parkrun community that's joining us today. And for those that are joining us outside of the parkrun community, wherever you are in the world, welcome. You are most welcome here. But it would also be good to just get a quick insight as to why we keep saying Stars and Strides. Before there's any confusion, the redcoats are staying put. Simon.
Yeah, Stars and Strides. Well, July the 4th is well known as American Independence Day, so we decided to try and get the Eastbourne Parkrun community to try and run as many not park runs as they can, to see how far from Eastbourne we can run. Totaling up the amount of kilometres that everyone runs together, and obviously trying to send as many selfies in with us in any kind of flag regalia or anything like that, just so that we can have a bit of fun with it and go from there, really. So sending into the Eastbourne at parkrun.com email address would be with all your selfies and stories would be the best way to go.
Fantastic. We do look forward to receiving some of those either videos or the pictures, and we'd love to incorporate them into the next show, and certainly we'll update them onto Facebook as well. So a great event, definitely worthwhile participating, and just get in touch if you have any queries. And just in this comment, nip through, I'm not sure how truthful this is, if it's a one-off or is this a permanent thing, Mr. Race Director Mike Thompson. But welcome this morning, that even if you're on a line, that you're joining us too. And what we want to do this morning is get on with one of the upcoming discussions, and we're going to be looking at music, podcasts, or ambient sound. So when you're out running, what is your poison? What do you like to listen to? So if you're keen to get out there, do you want to listen to music? Do you find it helpful? Do you want to listen to somebody else talking? Or do you just want to get rid of the headphones, not take your technology, and simply just listen to what's going on around you? Simon, what's your preference?
I do tend to run to music majority of the time. If I'm running with other people, then I won't have anything in my ears at all. But I would say the majority of what I do is run with headphones in, listening to music. I find it a very good distraction, especially in the afternoon. Or if I'm doing a later afternoon, evening run, and I've been running, I had a busy day at work, just putting some music on and just getting out there just kind of distracts me and just gets it out of my system, shall we say. So I'm definitely a runner to music, definitely.
And what would you be listening to? What were you listening to this morning?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say my music choice is quite varied, and depending on what's on there. So I just put my music on, put it on shuffle and go. So I've had Eminem on there. I've even had Christmas songs come up. I've had some Michael Bublé. I've had some El Divo. I even had some Frozen songs come on, Disney Frozen. So it's completely random. So it depends on what's on there, really.
So does that form part of your running motto, the Frozen songs of just to let it go? As somebody comes speeding past you, not that they would when it's you, but do you just say, stress, no too much, let it go?
Yeah, I think, going on from my Dory, just keep running, definitely let it go now is probably up there as well.
Yeah, and it'd be great to find out from you live viewers, what do you listen to, if at all? Do you like to have music going? Do you prefer to not have any headphones on at all? You just like to interact with the world that's around you, whether it's the ambient sounds of the seagulls on Eastbourne beachfront, or maybe it's you're running socially distanced but in a small group and you just like to chinwag all the way through. I myself, I prefer to listen to some music, and that's really just to drown my own thoughts out from time to time. I think I procrastinate far too much during the week, and actually it's just nice to be able to tune out completely. So I'm not even potentially listening to the music, it's almost white noise. But I think Simon, you would also advocate thinking about cadence as well. So selecting music according to the beats per minute can actually be a very useful thing. And they talk about the mythical 180 figure and the number of strides that you need to have per minute for improving your running performance, your running economy, and then having a song that has that 180 beats a minute. Hopefully subconsciously your mind will be stepping in tune to the song. So it's actually a wonderful thing to be having in order to deal with the run. But I think also a lot of it can be down to motivation as well, and that when you're in the deep thick of it, through your training, you're really struggling. Sometimes you just need a complete distraction to get away from the pain that you're currently experiencing. And I don't know if you found that, Simon, in any of the big events. Do you run with music in big events too?
I tend to not in events when you're running with lots of other people. I tend not to run with any music at all, just because I've run a couple of the big marathon. I've run London Marathon and Brighton Marathon, and just to run London Marathon and just take in the atmosphere and the people that are screaming at you just to keep running, keep going, and just to absorb all that in. But if I'm just running along the promenade, minding my own business, pop the headphones in and off I go. Just the way it goes, really.
Yeah, and we've got some viewers joining us, commenting. So what have we got? Brothers Osborne, Florida Georgia Line, Luke. Am I past this? I mean, who are these people? Who are they? They bands? I guess they are. Oh, here we go. Mike Thompson is at least somebody I've heard of, Ariana Grande. So there we go. So some things I have heard of. Maybe I'm showing my age. Maybe I'm just not with it. Maybe I'm stuck in the 70s and 80s of music. But that's the thing that I'm using at the moment to keep me going.
I am definitely also an advocate of running. If sometimes just running, and it's early in the mornings, as Nat said, going at 5:20 in the morning. There's not a lot of people around. There's not a lot of traffic, and sometimes if you're running along the seafront or on trails, just having nothing and just listening to what's going on and hearing the waves sometimes is just brilliant as well. So
we've got somebody who agrees exactly with you as well. Says, huge fan of music, but when I'm running I prefer to hear the sounds of creation around me. I feel safer too without music in my ears. So thank you, Duncan, for that one, and I think their sentiments are echoed with the wider running community as well. But when it comes down to running with music as well, what we can also look at various types of headphones. And if you're after safety, still listening to music, I would probably recommend these. These are the Aftershokz Titaniums. Don't worry, I'm not getting any commission out of these, but these conduct music through the cheekbone, and therefore it leaves the oral canal open, where you can still hear all the ambient sounds that are going around, but you're still getting music at the same time. But I completely understand that some people don't even like to have anything around their head when they're running too. Do you have a preference, Simon, for headphones?
I have been looking at Aftershokz because I know a lot of races don't want you wearing headphones, but they will allow you to wear Aftershokz, and obviously they do keep the ear canal open so you can hear the surroundings as well. I do use some Bluetooth running earbuds. They're just a generic. I found them online on Amazon, did some reviews found them some reviews, and they seem pretty good, so I got them. They were a little bit cheaper than Aftershokz, so they probably won't last as long, unfortunately. But I've used several different over the ear, in ear, over the top of the head, round the back of the head, corded, Bluetooth. There's several different over the time, and I definitely prefer not having a cord now, or anything around the back of my head predominantly. Right. But I know the Aftershokz are pretty good, so I think they will be my next purchase.
Yeah, and I recall being at Parkrun last year when some people's headphones and their Bluetooth has failed the connection, and they hadn't realised. So they've still got the headphones on their head, and the music's blaring away. What they don't realise though is the music's blaring from their phone and not actually through their headphones. And they only realise till they get to the halfway point, as other people are giving them very querulous looks as they're running round. So yes, it does pay to have a fairly good make of headphones that won't fail you then. And yeah, so aftershocks look good. Natalie Dawson was saying, yeah, I totally agree. And these things are absolutely fantastic as well, in terms of being able to cope with the sweat and tears. If it's a pretty emotional run, taking them through some very rough conditions, and these things, the audio quality is actually pretty good as well, conducting through the cheekbone. Interesting technology. It certainly seems to work. I've just found that if you yawn through them, it can displace it slightly, and the volume does dip a little bit. But very worthwhile. I'd also recommend these. These are my other favorite ones. And if we're talking about price alone, these are the MPOW Flame 2 Bluetooth headphones. These are over-the-ear clips, which I absolutely love, and they are fantastic for the price. I think they're about £20 on Amazon. Very worthwhile. Never had a failed connection. Couple of years in, and the rubber is slightly going, they're perishing somewhat, so constantly having to readjust to get the tones out of the ear. But yeah, what's your poison? What do you use out there? Unless you're listening to nature, then obviously you're just using au naturel. And I think this would be a great time actually to head into the music quiz. So this is a running theme music quiz. And what we're after is for the first of the viewers to come up with the correct answer. Unfortunately, Nat, you are banned from doing this, seeing as you actually provided us with the quiz. And what we're going to be giving away this morning, of course, is huge amounts of kudos. That's the only thing we can issue to everybody through live stream. So on with the quiz. First up, who wrote "Keep on Running"? So write it into the comments. And we'll look at the moderators to come up with the first person, or the person who came up with the right answer the first. And we'll go through the answers at the end of the show. So number 1, keep on running. 2, who wrote "Running in the Family"? Running in the Family. 3, running up that road. And 4, run to the hills. So there are your 4 titles that we need to find the artists or the band that actually wrote these. And then we can get on. Oh, so Mike says Otis Redding, but for which one was that? Keep on running, Mike.
See,
we'll have to find out.
Mike is Googling on his phone frantically, trying to find out who sung what.
And I think we should probably say, don't Google, it's just for fun. It's a bit like what was that, TGI Friday? Don't phone, it's just for fun. Don't Google, it's just for fun.
Now you are showing your age.
Oh, right, so we've got some more answers coming in. Oh, so yeah, we've got for number 3, Mark Revenell, Kate Bush, and Duncan Taylor. What have we got? Level 42 for number 2, and 3, Kate Bush. So we do have the answers trickling through correctly. Well done, everybody. And so we'll go through them at the end of the show. What we want to move the show on to now is looking at improving your running speed. And this is, absolutely fantastic thing to be looking at for any runner. So yeah, improving your running speed. What we've got to look at though is something that all runners really want to do. Is that when you're taking up running, of course you want to be able to run the distance, but you also want to be able to run at speed. We keep wanting to push ourselves to try and get the next PRs and PBs, personal records, personal bests. And I think whether you're capped to 5K, or whether you're a more advanced runner, whether the distance is short or whether it's long, people want to run faster. It's just a natural thing within us. We want to see progression. We want to be able to do the very best that we can. And there are a lot of theories behind trying to run quickly. And they can range from you've got to run quicker to run quicker. Well, that almost makes sense. But some curious ones that have come up, which is you should actually be running slower to run quicker. But then there are also other theories that say you've actually got to be running longer, and in order to build up the entire system to be able to run quicker. So there are lots of theories out there, but Simon, I'd love to have your input on this, as you are very quick, sub 25K guy. You spent many years, I'm sure, in different types of training programs. What's your recommendation? How do we train to run quicker?
Well, I'm going to firstly say I'm not a running coach. So I don't want to say that what I am saying is gospel, but I've been worked with some coaches in my time, so I'm just kind of getting some tips from them. So predominantly there's different types of running that people can do within their weekly schedule, just to try and improve their running speed. So there's tempo sets, fartlek training, there's hill sets, definitely stretching in there as well will help. Rest days are massively important. Excuse me. So it's having a combination of going out, doing your runs, not running as quick as you can all the time, because your body doesn't recover properly from that. So it's mixing your training up so that you go out and you will go out and do a quick run one day, then you'll do a hill set the next, and then 2 days later you'll go out and do a tempo set, and then you'll have a couple of rest days. You might want to do a yoga session or a Pilates session in that as well, because there's lots of evidence suggesting that yoga is fantastic for that. Weight sessions and improving your core is very good for your running physique, your running style, and increasing your speed also. So there's lots of different ways in which you can increase your speed. So it'd be nice to hear what other people have used and have helped as well, really.
Yeah, and what I would add into that is that running speed, and at least the training for it, is just one component of many that the runner needs to look at in terms of development. And you probably want to look at training not just in terms of short-term gains, but long-term gains as well. That of course you can go out and you can do hill runs, fartlek training, sprint speed work, and you can see some improvements, but they may end up being marginal depending on where you're at. I think what runners probably need to look at is if you have a year in which you have maybe 3 seasons of running training, then you'd want to look at one of those seasons where you're purely looking at aerobic based development. And then different seasons where you'd then be going beyond that. So you'd be looking at anaerobic development, in which you would then be looking at trying to push your VO2 max, your lactate thresholds. But within the aerobic development, you've got to be laying a foundation here where you are improving your mitochondria density. You're trying to fine-tune your muscle fibers. You're trying to look at capillary density, burning energy more efficiently, so getting those fat storage energy conversion cycles going more smoothly. Just reading off a list now: higher glycogen storage, cracky. And I'm a chemist and trying to find these words difficult to pronounce this morning. There are lots of adaptations, micro and macro level, that need to happen within the body in order to be able to lay that foundation. And so within, say, aerobic-based training, you are definitely going to be looking at longer miles at slower pace to start with until your body has that base, and then going into your second season where you're actually then targeting specifically those types of areas that are going to be more impactful on sprinting and higher speed. Now, of course, we want to be able to achieve everything straight away. But I think you also got to try and pace it as well, in that you shouldn't be trying to do aerobic-based training and all the speed work development at the same time. I think you then find the counterproductivity in there. But I think if you can think longer term strategies, and then trying to at least stick to a program that takes you through many months, not just weeks, you certainly feel the best gains possible that you can get out of it. And it is challenging, and it does take a lot of time, a lot of training, and it is a hard thing to do. I know that your minds can go wandering. My mind certainly can. It's just, how do you keep yourself going? And within those challenges, you're talking about mindsets and approaching training. Simon, have you got any thoughts about how you deal with the mental challenges for training?
I think, for me, I'm not part of a club. I haven't been part of I haven't actively been part of a club, should I say, for several years now. So for me, I do a lot of it off my own back. I've done a lot of one thing I will say is physiology for a lot of people. Some people are naturally quicker than others. So for me, I'm a fairly tall, I'm on the other side of the BMI scale that I'm on the wrong side of the BMI scale, should I say. So for me to get my weight and height round at a quick speed, without doing all of the training, I wouldn't be as quick as I am without doing some of this fairly regularly. If I had a proper plan and I did more training potentially with a club, then potentially I would get quicker and quicker, and go from there as well. But I think a lot of people, when they first start running, and I know many people that have come to parkrun have started off, and their first time, they notice a rapid drop over weeks of their times reducing fairly rapidly, and then all of a sudden it plateaus off, because their body has naturally got to a state where it can't get quicker, because they're only doing what, if you keep doing the same things all the time, you won't improve. So if you change up and you add in a hill set once a week, or add in a tempo set once a week, as Natalie has put in with her comments, add in a long, slow run, having rest days, doing all of this within a week, and making sure that you do this and structure it, that you will improve again. Because, anyone that's done any form of weight training or any kind of training exercise, your body gets to a point where it plateaus off. So it's changing it up slightly and improving those sections that can get you quicker and quicker. I'm 6'3" and a bit, and about 16 stone. So for me to get round in a sub 21, I don't have an athletic figure. So, I've done all of this training in the past, and I've got that base layer. I would love to do a sub 19 park run, and on a 5k, or sub 19 5k, but I know I need to do tempo runs, and I know I need to do more fartlek training. And as Natalie has just commented, I potentially need to join a running club on a full-time basis, and that is certainly something. But there's lots of clubs locally, so if people are struggling to find what kind of training plan fits them, as Natalie's put there, Rovers, Helsham Harriers, Run Wednesdays, Polegate Plodders, Meads Runners, there's the Seafront Shufflers, there's so many different clubs out there with lots of different expertise in, and it'll help motivation, it'll help with your structure of your runs, and give you plans, and it will get you quicker and quicker. Because I've got friends of mine that go out on a regular basis and try and beat their PB and their personal record every time they go out for a run, and I keep telling them, you can't do it that way. You've got to do it more structured, and perhaps go out and do a quick run once a week, but the runs you do in between that need to be more structured. And I think they're taking it on board. But as I say, there are coaches out there that are far more qualified than me that can give you even more advice than I can. So,
yeah, and it's just to say that whilst we are speaking about runners that are able to put kilometres back to back over, say, 5k, 10k distances, but I think also this is accessible to Couch to 5k. Now, maybe it's not so much a case of running for time, and they really want the speed. Of course, they want the speed, but ultimately it's trying to put some of the different theories, and they're kind of given for you without really breaking down in the training program of Couch to 5k. They're kind of giving you these types of activities by, go for a brisk walk, to take a rest day, try and walk the 5k but a quicker time than last week, and it's slow increments. So actually there is a foundation, or something that's quite similar from what we're talking about, where maybe we're looking at club running and we are doing 5k distances without stopping, that it actually can be applied in Couch to 5k. So I think it is accessible to all levels. And what I would say as well is, if we're looking at clubs, there are many Couch to 5k clubs out there. We want to encourage people getting into running as best as possible, and the Couch to 5k app is absolutely brilliant. It's been around for a number of decades, and well worth it. And I know there are a couple of local clubs. In fact, there are a couple of gentlemen right now in the live stream, Duncan Taylor and Mark Revnell. You're currently running a Couch to 5k club. Please comment in below if people want to get in touch and to join. How do they do that? So if you can just leave some contact details, please, gentlemen, that would be absolutely great. And sorry, just to bring this one up as well. Yeah, so trying to get as many people onto the radar as possible with the clubs that are out there. It's absolutely fantastic. You just keep on promoting the health benefits of running as best as possible. And of course, it's not all about the running as well. It's not always about doing the speed. You've said that maybe you don't have the athletic figure, but the fact that you are running that kind of performance is still incredible, Simon. But I also would question, well, what defines an athletic figure? If you look at, say, the 5K 2012 Olympics, or I should say 5,000 meters. The 5K, I think, is more outside the stadium, but anyway, 5,000 meters, won by Mo Farah, fantastic performance. But just look at the height difference. Now, okay, I mean, they are particularly very slender individuals, but look at the height difference from small to large, and it's just incredible. Also, the running gaits can change as well. So I wonder, is there any such thing as a particular mold that anybody could fit that makes them a good runner? But the adage is always going to be, do you have that genetic potential? Are you gifted in order to run quickly? But then, of course, it's all relative. Quicker compared to whom? And parkrun, of course, is not about the race, it's about the run. And of course, you do get personal bests, so you should only be racing against yourself. But there are great ways in which you can actually overcome the barriers. I know there are a few people that have been using what we like to term pacers out there, and pacing, I think, is a great way, for the individual to serve, because it's more than just about running as well. And parkrun, we want to incorporate all sorts of volunteers, whether it's at the start line and finish line, along the route as well, to marshal it. We want to incorporate lots of different people. But in terms of improving running performance and running speed, having a pacer there is can be absolutely instrumental for some people. And sometimes it's just a mental barrier, not necessarily a physical barrier. They've done the work, they've got the capabilities, they've done all the training, but it's just something about the mindset that means they cannot break their particular target time. And it may take somebody else just to have that consistency of pace in order for them to just be able to keep up and keep focused and to be able to cross that finish line with a PB. And Simon, I know that you're a very keen pacer on Pacer Day.
Yeah, I think I feel like I've done everything like my achievements in running, for me, I've achieved. So I find giving back and pacing people to help them with their potential absolutely fantastic. So Ray, you and I both have paced at Parkrun Pacer Days at different times. I've also paced half marathons, officially and unofficially. So I've actually been an official pacer for 4 or 5 half marathons now. And the joy, I get far more satisfaction now out of helping people achieve their potential and achieve their goals than I do achieving my own now, because it's, I've done half marathons at the paces I want to do. I've done marathons at paces I want to do, and I've run 5Ks as quick as I know I can at the moment. And I know it's, for me now, it's helping. And as you say, it's mental sometimes with some people, that they think they can't do it, so therefore they won't. But actually, if by going out and helping them and distracting them, talking to them when they're going, all of a sudden, and I think we discussed last time, the counting from 1 to 100 as a technique to keep take your mind off things. If you've got a pacer there as well, they can help take your mind off of where you are, any niggles or pains you think you might be feeling, anything that's going on mentally in your head. And actually, all of a sudden you're a kilometre further down, or you're at the halfway turning point, or you're coming around the back end of the summer course, and you're suddenly going, oh, I'm here. Oh, I've only got X amount of time to, I can do this. So I absolutely love Pacer Day, and anyone that is close to achieving, a sub certain amount of time for any race, when Parkrun comes back and Pacer Day is there again, it's about utilizing those people, because they are there to help you with that, to get you under that specific time. So for myself, when I've paced sub 22 and sub 23 minute 5Ks, you have a little group with you that follow you, and some stick with you, some go ahead, some come leave you, you leave them behind, because you can't wait around for them. But I think pacing is brilliant and fantastic for those that want to get better times as well.
Agreed. It's a great way to serve, and I think it has been very instrumental to a number of people. Just to bring one comment up, Mark Revnell, Pace has got my time down so well, really helped. And I think that is probably a sentiment echoed by many. There's a very interesting comment that I want to bring in by somebody called the Scorpion. Well, if it's not a race, why position people and place them in position in their age group? I think that's a great question, actually. But as a race director of Parkrun Actual, Simon, how would you respond to such a comment?
Why position people and place them in position in their age group? Well, I know at Eastbourne Parkrun, there's no age group. Well, I suppose if we're looking at results, I'm guessing what we're talking about is results. I think it's just so that you can, everyone is welcome, and I think it's just to give you an overview of where you potentially are in your age group. I think it's not a race. But a lot of people will see a lot of people do like to see where they are within their peer groups, within their age groups, within their gender groups and things like that. So, it is a hard one to kind of to do, but I think it's just the nature of it. But it's good, I think it's just as you can have an idea and an understanding of where you are in the grand scheme of things, because it's not a race. Even though some people might treat it as a race, it's not a race. It's definitely not a race at all. As Mark has said, it's definitely, you're definitely racing against yourself with Parkrun. And it's good to see, if you are going out and running as best as you can then kind of see where you fit in your age range and things like that. So it's just it's a tool to use to help you see where you are in your age range and things like that, really.
Yeah, as Mike Thompson says, age grading is a great motivator. And I think something about the functionality of Parkrun, how it's set up to enable everybody to meet as a community, to start them off at the same time, and to facilitate the entire non-race, so it's just the run event, automatically necessitates that there's going to be times, there's going to be marshalling and funneling. It does then have the structure of what feels like a race, but as we keep stressing week in, week out for Parkrun, and we're doing live stream now, that it is not a race. I know that some people, it doesn't preclude them from treating it like a race, and it's I've come across a number of individuals as I've tried to sprint as best as I could for the line. And as you're just about to pass certain individuals, they're taking a quick look over the shoulder, or they can hear you coming, and then suddenly they speed up. So there is a bit of friendly rivalry out there as well on the Parkrun race course, as I think you can find in life anyway. But I think when it gets too serious, that's probably when people need to step in and try and chill everybody out. I know that there are some Parkruns, and it's not going to name names, that have had issues where there has been quite a lot of rivalry, probably even fisticuffs as well. And I think that's destroying exactly what that's reinforcing behind the motivation and ethos of a Parkrun. The Parkrun is not a race. Everyone is welcome. In fact, let me just bring this up. No matter what speed you are, so whether you want to run it, you want to walk it, you want to hop it, jog it, whatever it is, it's all about participation. It is about the fun aspects as well, and it's great to just get people in, and to see how we get on. And as you say, I think a lot of it is against the clock. It's against ourselves, against the clock, so we can see the improvements. Now, okay, maybe we're interested in certain metrics as well. I'd love to see my PBs fall as often as possible, and maybe one of the challenges is that if we go back to running performance just for a moment, to looking at the increasing running speed, have we reached our genetic potential? If we've done all the training, we're as fit as we can be, we're as healthy as we can be, and we've done as much as we can, there is going to be a natural limit to how fast that we could ever run. And I think when you reach a certain age as well, there's also a limitation. It's all down to your genetic potential and stage of life. Now, I know that, Simon, you said, if I just focus on this, that, and the other, but of course we're at different seasons of life. But what about just the natural limits? And how do we stay motivated that maybe in our youth we were lucky enough, I don't know, I never was, to run a sub 15-minute 5K. But as soon as you hit 45, I'm not sure anybody has done that. Maybe just a very small handful of people, 45 years and over, that could run a sub 15-minute 5K. So I think there's a natural barrier that we have to look at, and how do we deal with that? And go back to the Scorpion, it just says interested in the percentage. And I think an age grade percentage can be a useful one, that if as we're getting older, can we maintain that kind of percentage throughout? That becomes the challenge, that we may not get any quicker. Maybe we're even desperately trying to hang on to the running times that we've got, but as they're slipping and we're getting older, I think that percentage age grade can be a useful metric just to keep us going. Now, whether people use that in competition and bandy that around, when we're meeting up with coffee afterwards, down at St. Wilf's, I'm not sure if anybody does that, but I just think that let's not lose sight. Let's not lose sight of the ethos of Parkrun and what it's set up for. We're here to be a community to help and all get in touch together.
I just want to say as well that if Parkrun was a race, we would potentially, that brings in, as you say, some potentially unhealthy competition, and could then exclude a lot of the people that we're looking to include.
That's
so
right.
Being that it's not a race, if you want to come around and walk Parkrun, if you want to come around, as you say, hop Parkrun, jog Parkrun, sprint Parkrun, or volunteer, pace, help with tokens, you are all more than welcome. It doesn't matter. So I think the fact that it is a run, a jog, a walk, it's a community event, completely makes it inclusive. So that's why it's not a race.
Yeah, fantastic. Right, as we're speeding on with the show, I think we need to bring up the answers for the running music quiz. So I think, did we get answers for all of them? I'm struggling to remember. I know we got them for the 2 and 3. But in number 1, so Keep On Running was written by Spencer Davis Group. Running in the Family, level 42, I think Duncan Taylor, you got that right. Running Up That Road, I believe Mark Revenell got in there first. And Run to the Hills, Iron Maiden. I'm not sure if anybody actually got that. So thank you, Nat, for providing the quiz, and we've got plenty left over for next time. So we are fast coming to the end of the show, and it just leaves me to say, Theo, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know at 9 o'clock, Parkrun HQ have their Saturday morning quiz. It'd be great if many of you could go along and join and participate in that as well. And just to say that, thanks for your participation, and please do send in ideas for upcoming features and future shows. The contacts are in the description below. And if you're on the replay, this isn't the end of it. Please do comment below, and I'll be following up on those comments in due course. And also, please check out other videos being posted here on this YouTube channel. If you like it, great, click on subscribe, hit the bell notification, big thumbs up. It all helps me in the development of this particular channel. Sorry for that little bit of plug. But really, it's just say, thank you for joining us this morning. It's been great to have the interaction, some fantastic comments out there. Really searching questions as well. I know I feel challenged, and a little bit more enthusiastic as well for the running week ahead. Please don't forget Stars and Strides coming up next Saturday, and don't forget to take some photos or some video footage and send that in. And again, the email addresses, and just bring them up quickly, will also be in the description below. So please send them through to eastbourne@parkrun.com or aspiringrunners@gmail.com. And thank you once again, Simon, for this morning. It's been absolutely great running with you, but obviously we're not. Just feels like I've run the marathon in this Saturday morning show. But thanks very much, Ray. And just say, we'll be back, we hope, in 2 weeks' time. We'll send out the feelers. And please do, stay safe out there, especially in the heat. Make sure you're hydrated, you're not overdoing it, and just enjoy it. And don't forget, you're not Parkrun. Don't forget to submit your results. And just to say, take care, enjoy your week. So long.